Should be fine, and I will share it in the usual place. On Twitter. Out. Nice. I think everything is looking solid. Everything is looking solid. Yes, and they can hear us, and they know that everything is working. So, okay, let's go and say hello to everyone. I'm pretty sure every sound is coming out, and they can hear us and see us. So, how are you guys doing? And welcome to the show today.
Thank you. We're doing great.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm very happy. Like the Million on Mars, I bought the founders token. I have. I'm looking forward to figure out everything that you guys are doing. So I'm very happy that you will sit here and discuss this with me and see. Well, so I can learn more how everything works, and you can teach me about the game and your roadmap, and hopefully we can help other people find interest in what you guys are doing.
It's great. Mitch will give you the good strategies. I will give you bad strategies.
So I have 5 founders token, which means that I have a lot of packs. I have a lot of NFTs. And for anyone that is wondering, a few, I don't know how long it was ago, 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, you could buy this founders token. And if you have them, you will get some pack drops for like a year, which is pretty sweet. So what was? Let's start there. What was the idea with that? Why founders tokens?
For me, I'd been playing a lot of other play to earn games, a lot of other games in this space, and I'd seen a really strong resonation in a few different projects that had also offered founders tokens, and the way that people really kind of clung to this special feeling of being part of like this exclusive club. And I really felt that it's really important to sort of harness and cherish your earliest adopters. And this was our way of sort of reaching out to our earliest adopters to have them become enthusiasts and to become part of the project. But for anyone who comes in after the fact, there's still an opportunity to get something and to always feel like you're still part of that club, even if you join a little bit late.
Yeah, that's nice. So is this the first game you guys are building? Or have you worked on any games before?
Eric, you want to go first?
Sure. I might as well just even introduce myself and a little bit my background.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. My name is Eric Bethke. I am the Chief Technical Officer here at Million on Mars. And I have been making games, I think, for 27 years professionally.
So you did make games before that?
I did, actually. I did. In fact, I recall the first time I ever made money off of games was in 5th grade. I would use graph paper and I would draw out little dungeons and have little dice rolls for people to play. And I would make a custom one for my classmates, and I'd sell it for 50 cents each. That. Yeah.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked that specific question was that I was aware of this, which is awesome. And I'm a big gamer myself. I love games. I see behind Mitch on his shelf, I saw the PUBG logo. I see Diablo. I think that is a StarCraft box as well.
Oh, yeah. This is signed by like a ton of professional StarCraft players too. Oh yeah.
So that makes me very happy, because I used to play StarCraft 2 at not a pro level but a competitive level, which is it's so much fun. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And like for me, the NFT space and gaming is made for each other. It's perfect match. So what and on that topic, how are you using NFTs for Millions on Mars, and what's the plan there?
I have a lot of passion to say there, and if I can, I'll just get back and just finish a little bit about my experience, and I'll connect it to the NFTs on Million on Mars, and I'll give a chance for Mitch to also talk about his experience here, because that's actually our experience. We believe is a fundamental piece of what we're bringing here. So I started in the game industry a long time ago in the 90s. built a few different game companies. My first game company was Taldrin, where we created the Starfleet Command series of games. That was with interplaying with Activision. One of the things that was really neat, proud about in that series of games, I created something called the Dynaverse, which is a massively multiplayer setting, but we ran it off of end consumers' desktop computers. So the way we did that was we let people play normal land-style battles on their machines back in 2001, 2002. And then when they got done with the battle, we uploaded the results to our server. So our server only had to keep track of a very little bit, right? And then they would repair their ships and they go out and go shopping and do some more stuff like that. In a sense, it's a little bit like how we use the blockchain now. Like we have a lot of game activity inside our virtual server, and then we record important events to the blockchain. So it's very, very similar. Then from there, I moved to South Korea and I built a game called Go Pets. And it's a virtual pet game where you took care of your pet, but you also had your own land and you would customize your pet, you would decorate your land. And we also created an item creator where people could take our 3D assets, unwrap the textures, and then paint the textures, and then upload them back into their land. And then they could put them on mannequins and sell them to other players. And we took like little fractional cuts of the sales. Again, it's like kind of a direction where we're going, where we wanted a player-owned and run economy and have the players create stuff. I sold Go Pets to Zynga. I was a general manager at Zynga, worked on a number of titles, had leadership roles on Farmville and Mafia Wars. And that's where I met Mitch.
Yep. Yeah, I got my start in the industry actually, early on as a game tester. Spent many years testing console and eventually free-to-play games. And then eventually moved my way over to Zynga, where I got a chance to actually move into game design and worked on games like Vampire Wars and Cityville. And then really spent a long time working in the free-to-play mobile space, building games for largely on Facebook and MySpace early on, and then moving straight over to mobile, where I did a lot of like idle games more recently. For me, like I've been a lifelong gamer, and I've put obscene amounts of time and money, thousands of hours into every single game that I care deeply about. Like I just hit champion in Rocket League like this season, right? After like 3,500 hours. For me, owning and having actual like tangible assets that you have from your investing of your time and money is something that has been something that I've really cared about as an actual gamer, and to be able to actually put that into actual power and play as a game designer has been a really awesome opportunity. And it's something that just sort of fits so well within our mission driven approach as a company.
Yeah. Digital property rights is an extreme passion of mine. I feel like the right to own your digital assets, to me, is simply human rights. Like it makes no sense to me that you can own your house, you can own your tools or a car, but you can't own your digital assets. It makes zero sense. I felt so passionate about it back in 2008. I co-wrote a book, Settlers of the New Virtual Worlds, and I talked about this, and I talked about how these end user license agreements, or you have a limited license. I said, oh, that's bullshit. We're making games where people have castles and they have backpacks, and it's their sword, it's their stuff. And it makes it's a violation of just common sense. And so, a big theme on my games, all the games I've ever worked on are massively multiplayer games where I honor the player to have as much agency and as much ownership as possible. And so, NFT games are incredibly exciting to me, because now we have this reliable set of tools that allow us to realize, frankly, what I've been doing for 20 years, frankly, what Mitch has been doing for also, 15, 17 years, I forgot how long.
15 years, yep.
15 years, it allows us to just do what we have been doing, but do it a lot better.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And NFTs takes everything that you're saying into new place, and like you're preaching to a choir here. So I think I'm not the only one that also thinks that digital ownership is highly important, and too many people are giving away too much of their digital information for free to big corporations, and they should keep them to themselves which is, I guess we get into an ideology, which could be a long discussion, but we will avoid that for now, and we will stick to game and Million on Mars, I think.
Sure.
But I love that aspect. Like, NFTs will change every industry where you need to have something unique that is digital. It's not just games, it's anything unique that is digital, and it will be in ways we can't imagine today, which is awesome. Yeah.
We are a very idealistic and a very mission-oriented company. So I don't mind us talking a little bit about the philosophies of NFTs, because it's actually, it's important to me personally, but it's important to how we create and run our games. So I'd like to talk about that a little bit. I'd like to talk about the name of the company, Million on Mars. Long time ago, before I made games, I worked at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory on the Galileo and Cassini space programs, particularly on the UV spectrometer. And I was really excited at that time. I was getting my PhD. I was really excited about how you could use carbon dioxide to warm up your atmosphere of Mars, right? But that was in the 90s, early 90s, and it was after the shuttle disaster. And it wasn't that exciting of a time to be in space, and it felt a little bit depressing. So even though I had a really nice, prestigious position, I was being paid good money, I had a nice private office to get my PhD, and like everything you could ever want as a grad student, I had it. But it just felt slow, and it felt depressing. And I was frustrated that the population wasn't excited about space. So I literally quit that job, and I went in the game industry, and I thought, hey, I should learn how to make games. Because if I could make games, that could be one way I could inspire people to get excited about space. So I went off on a big, long adventure, did a bunch of other things I told you about. But Million on Mars is that effort. Behind me is a picture of sailing. When sailing with my family for 3 years, we made the first version of Million on Mars. But the idea of Million on Mars is show people what it would be like, have them play, have them settle Mars in the solar system and play with some of the technologies. But super important, play with the economics. And so, Elon Musk has a phrase, Million on Mars, and that's where I got it from, is he's thinking that it will take about 1 million people for it to turn over economically and have enough economic flow to be profitable. And so we're really excited about trying that out and seeing if we can model that as a game and have the players play with us and help us try to find the answer to that. And to do that, it's vital that they believe that they own the stuff, and it's vital that the economic flows are as real as possible. So, philosophy and idealism and politics, it's valid. It's really important stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, it ties into the mission-driven approach to us as a company. It also ties into the implementation of our economy design and the way that we think about modeling real-world economics. Like if you actually dive into the game and you start to look around, you'll actually see that lots of the ways that things function within the game are just like in real life. And it's very intentional decisions that we've made because we want to be able to sort of, we want to drive incentives and motivate things in specific ways, but we want there to be a specific type of friction that feels tangible, that feels very visceral. And when you run out of your stamina and you need a lot more stuff done that day, you should feel it when you actually have to hire other people to go work for you and to come do the jobs that you need to get done to like progress inside of the game.
Yeah, and so you're trying to make it as much as real life as you can is in one way. So is that why you have a coffee grinder and things like that already?
Yeah, we also like to have fun. So we are game makers at heart, right? And we've always said that this is a game first, and we will generally lean towards a more fun experience, yet at the cost of maybe a little bit of realism, just for the sake of a better game. So coffee, like you can grow it inside of the game. In real life, growing coffee takes 4 years. I did a ton of research on the entire growing production chain of coffee, became an expert basically on every step of these processes and figured out how to model it in a way that would translate into growing it on Mars. I just scaled it down to growing from one coffee plant in 2 days and scaled down that to roughly 1 to 3 cups of coffee. And I really did try to like measure the scale and the steps all the way along the way to really kind of feel like you're actually growing and producing coffee all in just the way you would do it on Earth. And if you look up how this stuff is done, you will see like, oh yeah, it's just like this step on how it's actually done. Like and to make coffee is a lot of work in real life. Yep. Like I still had to cut some steps out because it's 10 steps in the real world, and I put it down to 5. So
yeah, and people that want their cup of coffee at home, they are too lazy to even grind their own beans and things, which is kind of fun. They just want everyone else to work. But like, okay, so if I am a person, I want to play this game, where do I have to start? What's the first step?
Sure. So there's two straightforward steps, but the most basic thing is have an access badge. So we are a game that is accessible, but we do want to have an entry and an access that is not just an open door. Yeah. We feel really strongly about making sure that there are only humans playing our game. And we very much do not like botting. We don't like multi-accounting. We want one person to play one account with all of their assets. If you want to buy land and develop it and then give it to a friend to play with, and that's totally fine. We have no issues with that. But for us, we care very much about it being just people playing on one account. And so that's why we have an access badge system, and we sell those on our website. They're on Nifty. Once you get one, you can get right into the game and start to play. You don't need to own land to play. You would effectively be a worker, and you can do scavenging. You can buy and sell things on the market. You can do daily jobs and tasks, and you can also perform work that is being posted on the job board by other players. All these tasks earn you Dusk, which is our in-game inflationary token, and you can earn Dusk, use that to buy and sell other items that you need on our in-game marketplace, because you need food and water in order to actually play the game. So you have to buy the food and water that is being produced by other players inside of the game economy. So you can't. There's no free lunch, basically, aside from a little bit of the daily rations that we do give you in case you end up going broke and you need a little bit of a way to kind of work yourself back. So we do try to provide those things whenever we can. But the idea is supposed to be that it's a completely player-driven economy. And then if you also have land inside of the game, so you can purchase land deeds or purchase land packs from our shop on Nifty. That allows you to lay down a claim and then start to actually put down buildings, blueprints, and start your own work production of different economic supply chains. So at the start of the game, it's just about building your surviving sustenance. So you're generating power in your solar panels, collecting those into your power cells, which power all of your other buildings. You're then harvesting or processing your waste and maybe getting more waste from the market and converting that into soil. You're filtering water from ice that you've been collecting from scavenging or buying up from other players, and you're planting into water, which you need to drink and also that you need to plant for food. And then you plant seeds and crops inside of your greenhouse in order to harvest food that you need for your sustenance. So you have this core nice little loop of 4 buildings that interlock together and give you this basic pillar of surviving on Mars. And from here is where we take things we start to really take things farther, and we're sort of launching out into our next expansions with mining, which is coming up in the coming weeks.
Yeah, that's good. And okay, so the first thing you do if you have land, you have this token you want to play, is the first action is you have to burn your NFT, which is very scary for someone. Now we go into this owning your digital assets, and now if I want to use my land in the game, I have to burn it. What does that mean, and what's the thought behind that?
Sure. Why don't you explain, Eric, the process of depositing and claiming land?
Yeah, for sure. You're actually transforming it, right? You start off with a NFT deed. It's a right. It's a digital property right. But then you go to Mars. You get to go look at our beautiful globe of Mars, spin it around. You get to go look at which quadrant you'd like to live in. Do you want to be in the equator where there's more sun? Do you want to be at the poles where there's more water? Although we got a great report yesterday that the bottom of Valles Marianas is about 40% water. It's really exciting because you could be at the equator and you could have water. You have cake and eat it too. But where do you want to be? You pick your quadrant, you go in there, and then in the quadrant view, we have what we call DTM pins. That stands for digital terrain model. And we are using the actual terrain from the Mars Reconnaissance Observer run through the HEISS experiment run out of University of Arizona, JPL. And we've carved up the surface of Mars into these 250 meter by sided hexagons, and that works out to being 40 acres of land. And so you take your digital property right to this land deed, and then you find this cool hexagon that you really want. And each one of our hexagon has a unique 3-word name to it, like Red Robin Willow. And you say, okay, that's the one I want. And so you're gonna burn that deed, but then you own that land, and then that land is an NFT. You're not really destroying something, you're transmuting it. And then later on, you have the right to go build up that land, and you have the right to even sell that land again on the marketplace to somebody else.
So what happens is that when you start to play and you choose a land, you will get the new NFT, which is a land.
That's correct.
That's what you're saying. And then, okay, I wanna put my solar panels down. Then I deposit that by burning it into the game. And when I have done that, what happens when I place it on a land? Do I get a new NFT, or is that NFT now incorporated in the land NFT? How does that work?
Yeah, so we update the mutable data properties on side of that land NFT. And so that way it's permanently reflected that it has that building installed upon it. And we basically will continue to evolve this system and give players the ability to really develop virtual real estate on Mars. That's the core of what the idea behind all of this is.
So the way I did it, what I do when I test something, I just go in and I click and I do some things, and I put out the common land first, and then I put an epic solar panel on it, which now it feels like I should have taken a better land for that epic solar panel probably. But that's what you get when you play around, right?
Well, to tell you the truth, all of the land is a little bit epic right now. Everybody's playing with 2021 land. And the 2021 land has a hard stop. What we have for sale in NFT, that's it. What the founders have, that's it. 2021 land is big and roomy. 2022 land will be a little bit more svelte and skinny.
Yep. And it's likely the same case for our buildings as well. So when you install a building on top of your land, it actually uses and consumes the buildable space that's available on your land. So bigger and more rare buildings actually take up more space and have more production capabilities. So for example, a common solar panel only lets you charge 1 power cell at a time. A mythical solar panel, the common solar panel takes up 5 building spaces. The mythical solar panel can charge 15 charge 15 power cells at the same time, and it only takes up 25 spaces. So it gives you 15 times the production capabilities at only 5 times the space.
So your common land that you talked about with your epic solar panel, that's still going to be quite powerful going into 2022. If you had missed out on the founders coin, I would recommend people who are excited about this game to go buy up the last bits of our land now and some of the last bits of the blueprints, because it's kind of a middle class version of Founder right now. The 2021 stuff is closing out.
Yeah, and you're also able to upgrade the things on your land starting from today, I think, right?
That's right. We just rolled out our upgrade system yesterday.
So and you use blueprints, or how does that work?
Yep. Right now you use duplicate blueprints and Dusk in order to do an upgrade. So right now we're starting with just common buildings, going from levels 1 to 5 to make sure everything that we've built and put together in the last couple of weeks is working as we expect it to. And then we're going to roll out additional rarity levels and allow players to progress as well. But yeah, the intent is to be able to, soak up all of that excess supply of blueprints. It was a very intentional thing that the players have lots of extra blueprints that we can make the game really accessible early on for everyone. And then now that we've got the upgrade system, we would expect the supply to start to diminish as players want to invest in upgrading their buildings to produce stuff a lot faster and increase their ROI.
So if I upgrade if I have an epic one and I upgrade it, is that a legendary now, or is it a higher upgraded epic?
It's a higher level epic. So it doesn't change rarity tiers. The building itself just gets an increased level, and then that will have a stat improvement to the recipes that it's able to perform.
So for example, you can upgrade your common solar panel. It'll still only have 1 slot, but it gets faster and faster. And then you can go upgrade your rare solar panel, which has more slots. It'll also get faster and faster. This is, besides soaking up blueprints. It's just also tons of fun and gives the middle and elder player a very strong progression mechanic.
Yeah, that's it's nice. So when you go in and you have land and you want to choose where you pick, or which place on Mars you want to be on, does that matter? Does the hexagons, are there better ones, worse ones? What should people look for?
Can I take a crack at this, Mitch?
Of course.
Okay. Frankly, at the moment, the placement is the matter of it is mild, frankly, at the moment. The strongest reasons to be in a particular place at the moment is probably social. You know, you come in with your guild mates and you go and build an empire together. Or there's perhaps a place on Mars that you happen to romantically like. Do you like the big volcanoes? Do you like the big canyon? Do you want to be at the poles of the equator? That being said, the next reason why you might want to buy some land is you might actually like a particular land that somebody has already improved and has it on the secondary market. You know, they might have invested some rares and some epics in there. So that's an exciting thing. So before necessarily picking a plot, you might want to go to the secondary market and go look around for cool pieces of land. Then we've got a couple of game system updates. Maybe you want to talk about the scavenging too?
Yeah, definitely. The other thing that's going to start to matter more over time. So right now, like Eric was saying, it's largely about socially placed land, but we want to really make the connection with the land game matter more over time. So one of the things that we're going to be rolling out next year, mind you, next year I don't mean 6 months from now, I just mean in about 6 to 8 weeks on our roadmap. Our plan is to roll out Scavenging 2.0. So that meaning that players don't just scavenge randomly globally with just a random button. They're actually going to choose which land plots they're scavenging on. And there's going to be a share of dusk earned with the actual landowners of those plots of land. So owning land in the game actually will matter. Unclaimed plots will have a percentage set really high in the profit share, and it'll go to sort of a general repository of dusk, like a treasury type system. And the other, majority of it will just get burned out. But the idea here is to create intentional, like we want to drive players to actually go scavenge on the land that's claimed by the other players, and we want the other players to feel a sense of ownership that really matters and really connects with the other side of the player base. So that's also something that's coming in just a matter of a few weeks.
It matters, but it doesn't matter where you choose. So anyone new can just come in and they can find one slot that isn't, I don't know which color, pink-ish, I think, is the chosen ones.
Yeah.
And then you just pick one of them. So
I think we will layer in more meaning to the location over time. For example, up for discussion, but if you're up at the polar areas and you're doing scavenging, likely the loot table from scavenging would include more ice.
Yeah.
I think it's entirely plausible that we could see adjustments to the weightings, the weighting tables of specific places, or depending on where you're scavenging. We also are, the amount of scavenging actions you'll be able to do will also be dependent on the rarity of the land. So having higher rare land actually will matter, because you'll get more actions per day on your land if you're in a high traffic area, basically. So it's something that we do want to incentivize for players to care about.
Yeah, that's nice. While we are talking, I will actually drop a link right now in the chat where people can go and sign up their account name on Wax, and the sweet team that is joining me today is bringing a lot of nice giveaways for people to get at the end of this show, and also we will do some that forum will be open until tomorrow midnight, so people watching this at another time can still partake in that giveaway, which is rather nice for those that tend to miss the live show. So that's awesome. So when it comes to the game, you have already done a few updates. You have delivered on the first things that you have promised and everything. In 6 to 8 weeks, we have the scavenger update. What can people expect of this game if we go 6 months or 12 months away? What's the idea?
Man, it's hard to even imagine how much is going to get accomplished in that amount of time from our team. I'm not trying to just boast or be bragful. The intent there is to really demonstrate that like we're a serious team of game makers, and like this is what we do. What we've done in the last few weeks is has just been amazing. I feel it's so exciting to be able to actually consistently release new player-facing features and systems on an ongoing basis, and to just keep the pedal to the pavement on an ongoing basis. 6 months from now, I would expect a much more beautiful game that's going to be much more in the near term. We have a big plan for a whole UI overhaul to really make the game much more visually appealing and exciting to play. We're building out localization efforts so the game can be played in multiple languages around the world, because we have a huge, rich international community of players from really all over the globe, from anywhere from East Asia, South America, and Africa, and of course, plenty of people in the US and Eastern Europe. We want to really kind of connect with the metaverse. We want to allow you to, join with other collections and involve that. Maybe change your profile picture to be a profile picture from another wallet that you have. We really want to expand the game and really kind of make it a growing economy and build and infuse it with culture and unique, fun things for everyone to do. I'm sure Eric can share a ton of other things that we have envisioned as well.
I'll pile on that. It is hard for me to think 6 months out on Land Rush, because I'm just literally that excited about the stuff that I know about in the next 1 and 2 months, right? My head is full of just the next 60 days. We were blown away. Thank you for being a founder. Thank you for buying the 5 coins. We were blown away by that support. We were confident this was going to be good. And we made a big investment. We have investors. We're a real company, but it was an investment. And then you guys came back over the top, and you rewarded us with a huge amount of trust. Now, with that, we've actually grown the team quite a lot. We're about 20 people in size. Mitch mentioned localization. We've hired a woman, Danica, that we've worked with in the past at Zynga. This woman's incredible. She speaks and writes 7 languages herself. And she
that is crazy.
Yeah, she's a rock star in the truest sense.
Yeah, and she has had leadership positions at Zynga, at Apple, and even Linden Labs about localizing their products. So one of our big efforts is to localize everything we do. Localize the Discord, localize our game updates, localize our customer support. We want to treat every language as the same as English. So we did something I think is pretty innovative, and I'm really proud of it, is the way most game companies approach localization is this. They work really hard, they crunch really hard, they produce the English version, and then they hand off the English version to a B team. And they say to the B team, you guys go work it out. Figure out how to put the German stuff in there. It's long, I don't know, I don't care. I'm tired, crispy, you figure it out. That's how most game companies do it. But what we did is we actually reorganized the company, and we created a team called Player Experience that Danica leads. And with Player Experience, we've put the customer support people in there, we've put the community people in there, and she owns English customer support as well as English localization. So from her role, English is just a peer level with all the languages. And so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, it sounds very good. I mean, I lived in China for almost a year, and like the Chinese community for gaming is huge. For NFT gaming, for play to earn is huge. There's a lot of them, and that is one of those languages. They don't necessarily want to play stuff that are on English. They are more comfortable doing it in Chinese. The Spanish-speaking countries are similar, and there are a few major languages which it makes a ton of sense to make them native inside the game, because they are not small communities. I mean,
that's right.
To make
Absolutely.
the game in Swedish doesn't make sense, because in Sweden everyone speaks English to a great, well, pretty much everyone does.
I know that's true. Actually, I've got a question for you. I know that's true of the greater Scandinavian, Nordic countries, also true for Dutch speakers. But do you guys not feel a little bit better if we did the effort of putting Swedish in there? do you think?
Personally, I would leave it in English. So,
Right.
I'm sure other people would say differently. But for me, I have Windows in English and not in Swedish. I have all my applications installed in English. It makes my life easier. If you ever have any issues, you go for a tutorial. It's the same button, same language as the English one. It makes more sense to me to use it that way. But I don't think that I am the norm in any way, in any form. So I don't know if I'm the best person to ask here, but for me, no.
Great. More stuff coming up. Mitch mentioned mobile. We've hired 7 more software engineers, and we've hired a new software engineering leader, Bill Baldwin, who I've worked with for 10 years at different companies. He's truly awesome. We have a lot of upside on making mobile a lot more friendly and usable. We have another team member, Allie, you'll see her in Discord a lot. She's leading our UI and UX designs. What you see now in the game, honestly, really proud of it. We worked really fast. It's really awesome. But that's not what we want the game to look like. It's really a proof of concept, what you're seeing right now. We have humongous level ups in the user interface and the art and the presentation. It's going to leapfrog in the next 1, 2, and 3 months. It will not look like the same game. It'll be confusing. Like, all the player guides need to move out. We'll have to redo this interview because people will be confused what game you're talking about. It won't look the same.
That's good though. That's good. More content.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, we'll be happy to update you whenever you want to have us on.
Yeah. So that's a big, huge thing. Mobile, localization, UI, those are big. We've got to also just flesh out the game systems. I'm not gonna talk about it all just in this. I'm talking too long, so I got to give something back to Mitch. I'll let Mitch talk about the mining, but you're gonna see a lot more content, a lot richer space. We're frankly gonna make it difficult for you. You're like, gosh, what buildings do I want to put on my land? That's too many different buildings. These guys, what are they doing to me? Now I need another piece of land.
Oh
yes. Yes. We're gonna have gameplay specifically if you're a worker. We're going to have gameplay if you're a single landowner. We're going to have gameplay if you have a few pieces of plots, and we're going to have gameplay if you have massive empires. I think a lot when I come to massively multiplayer games to think about the Bartle diagram, and I think about different game systems for different types of players. Some players will want to explore Mars. Some people want to see all the game systems. Some people are going to want to collect rare artifacts. Some people are going to want to compete with folks. Some people are just about min-maxing the game and doing super spreadsheets. The best spreadsheets is somebody I'm talking about here.
Oh, yeah, we have some massive spreadsheet wizards in our community for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are in every play to earn game, and then they are amazing.
They are sometimes better than me at my own job. That's the hilarious part.
Yeah. Now, another thing you're going to see is, my co-founder, Carrie Waters, she's writing a novel that goes along with our game. And that's actually the reason why we co-founded the company together, because I was working on this Mars game and she's working on this Mars novel, and we hit it off. We had all kinds of great geeky conversations, and we realized we had to make this company together. But you're going to see characters and plot points from her narrative being woven into our expansions in the next quarter. And, just over and over and over again, think about, we love what we're doing. We're not doing anything new. We're making massive multiplayer games that we've done before. And this is a game, and we're going to treat it like a game. We're going to treat it like a game that happens to have strong player ownership. It happens to have a token you could take out to Alcor and exchange. Happens to have that.
But it's a game first.
It's a game first.
Can you do that?
Absolutely.
Did you know that that's possible?
No.
Concept.
Yeah, we are absolutely not relying on speculation.
No.
As a motivation for what we're doing or what the players should be doing.
So you're actually trying to do something that is fun and engaging?
Yeah. Always from day one.
Strange concept.
We don't pre-sell. We make every item in the game that drops have utility. Everything that you craft has utility. Every action matters. Every resource is scarce, and that's always been our pillars from the beginning. Like we've had a game since day one, and that's always been our MO.
Yeah, and okay, if we take your game now, you said that you had funding from the start, and then you had a founders token. You got this big support by a lot of people, and you're expanding the team. Now both of you are experienced in running teams and working in teams, but doing that as like now, Eric, with your own company and everything, you're growing this as a founder and trying to do this. What's the difficulties here? Have everything been smooth, or everyone working together at the united goal? Do you have all systems in place, and how does that work for you?
So I'll be honest with you, this is my 4th game company that I founded. It's going really well. It's actually the easiest of my game companies.
So far.
So far, but seriously, like, first of all, the team members. I was dropping some names. I'll keep on dropping names as we go through this interview. I am intensely proud of each and every person we have working here. Like, every person's awesome. We had a 5.5-hour meeting yesterday as we were going through the upgrades release, and it was just fun working with people and just ticking off the items and double checking things. And it's just fun working with everybody. Everybody's really passionate. Everybody believes in this mission. And everybody's swinging for the fences and investing all their heart. So that the people's great, but the crazy sauce is you, Anders. You and your 5 founder coins. You bought 5 founder coins.
Yep.
And then and the other 950 founder coins got sold too. Like, we got paid close to $500,000 for people to come and play our beta test. That's crazy sauce. In my previous game companies, I did not get paid $500,000 to play my beta test. That did not happen.
Nope.
Right? That is amazeballs. And it's not because, I don't think it's because you guys are silly. I think it's because of going back to the philosophy part, I think it goes back to the digital property rights.
Yeah, it does. It does for sure.
Games are huge. It's $180 billion a year industry. It's bigger than music. It's bigger than movies. It's bigger than those combined. It's the same size industry as the entire world's space industry, every military satellite, everything. It's the same size as the semiconductor industry, games, right? It's a huge industry. And yet I think it's going to get a lot bigger, because I think all the players so far have been holding back. I mean, they can't really invest and trust these publisher-owned private gardens when they can get kicked out, banned, their stuff is torn away from them, and they can't, even if they did reach max level and they got a great castle, now what do I do with it? But by being able to like go and transport that time and creativity effort or exploration effort, you can measure players on any one of those vectors: money, time, skill, creativity. But being able to transport that into an exchange and take it someplace else, I think you're going to see this thing go from a $180 billion industry to 300, 600, even more. If I've seen that ratio of what people are willing to trust for us on our beta test compared to my previous software projects, this is huge potential.
Yeah, and what I really love here is that many of the play-to-earn games so far are built by teams that have no game experience. And that is the truth. They are not. They are usually very young. They don't have any game experience running companies. They don't have experience running, building games. They don't have experience managing people. All those things that can really carry or kill any ideas someone can have. And I think that some of the quick successes we have seen with some of the games the last few months on Wax, for example, where we see Farmers World, they pumped like crazy, the speculation, and then that started to drop and people took profit, and everything kind of fell out, and people start to scream, and then it just continued going down, and that is usually what happens. and perhaps they can come together. I mean, I've been here from the start from for a long time, and most games are designed boring, or they have teams that can really see the long-term vision, and maybe they don't have the same hype from start, or they don't have the same hype all the time, but they are building a team, they are getting this structure to last for years, and they can deliver long-term, and that's very fun. And we have started to see a few games now on Wax the last few months that just came out that are by game teams, which makes me very happy, because we need to see games that are fun to play, that also has NFTs, that also has a blockchain in the background. It's not a blockchain thing where you can hit the button and mine sometimes. It has to be something more.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. I've been an active, hardcore Wax gamer for months. Like I've owned land in every game that you can own land in. I've been there as a player, as a investor, or whatever you want to call it, and seen firsthand what those experiences feel like, felt the rise and the falls of these economies or of these projects, and been alongside with lots of friends in from that player's perspective as well. Yeah. What we've looked at and what we want to do with Land Rush is to really make sure that we build a game that's, of course, a game first, that's truly fun and engaging, that doesn't waste your time, that respects your wallet, and is not designed, that has a very approachable level of entry that can be accessible for a broad range of people. The game itself is designed intentionally to ensure that it's never going to cost hundreds of dollars to play the game. We always want it to be broadly accessible to millions of people around the world, and because it's in the browser, and because we want to make it optimized for your phone, we want that to reach as many devices as possible. And this is a core pillar of what we've always cared about building and bringing is this project for the masses. On top of this, for us, it is definitely about making something that's fun and engaging. So Dusk is not just something that's about printing more or stacking it or staking it or moving it around in different directions. It's about actually utilizing it in a means that actually feels fun and engaging within the game. It's about, you literally spend it on everything like you do in the real world. You spend it when you hire other players, when you're buying stuff for your daily needs, when you're upgrading your buildings. It's used everywhere. There's utility from the get-go, and there will be more and more and more utility constantly added. This will never stop. We will only add more ways to use and spend it, because Dusk matters. Dusk works. That's the name of the company. That's the fictional company inside of the game, is Dusk Works. And that's the whole point, is that it actually has a use that works. And to us, that coupled with the way in which we limit withdrawals from the game economy to your wallet every 2 weeks, we hope ensures that the Dusk that you earn inside of the game stays inside of the game more likely, that it's not just about earning and ripping it out and dumping it onto the market. We want to at least give players an opportunity to spend it inside of the game first. So if you earn it, you can spend it immediately. You're never restricted from being able to actually spend it inside of the game, but you do need to wait if you want to take it out.
That's very nice. I think that's good. I mean, you need utility for all tokens, and a lot of tokens do not have any utility. You need utility for NFTs if you are building a game, and it seems like you guys are trying to do that. Now, just by looking behind Mitch, I can see what kind of games he's playing, the same kind of games that I have been playing for a long time. But Eric, are you a gamer as well, or are you building games?
I'm a gamer as well. I tend to play fewer games than Mitch, but the games I play maybe more intensely. I'm not sure. The last game I played super intensely is Niantic's Ingress. And I'm super intense. I was super intense. I cut now. I'm out now. But I got to level 16 in that game. And if anybody's ever played that game, it's incredibly fun. You're running around capturing portals and making lines and links. But the part that I really liked was the Elder PvP game, where you created detailed operations, where you got people to drive in their cars and you need to be at this restaurant at 12:43. You got to drop this link at 12:47, not 12:48, not 12:46. I said 12:47, and you're on mobile phones and you're yelling at each other, and it's really serious. And sometimes people even rent airplanes to go places and boats, and it's crazy. I felt like a secret agent. It was tons of fun.
Yeah, and if people don't know what that is, it's like Pokemon Go but more nerdy.
Yeah.
It's what they built as their sort of like initial version to validate all of their tech, all of their global mapping systems, and all their fundamental pieces before they built Pokemon Go. Yeah.
And then, long ago, I played tons of World of Warcraft. A big Age of Empires fan. I tend to play RTSs. I tend to play MMOs. I can't play. I'm sorry. I'll just admit this. I can't play single player console games. I can't play single player.
It's boring.
Yeah. My first job ever was a junior programmer, and I have no mouth and I must scream. And a lot of people go, "Oh, that's a great game, Eric. I love that game. I love that story." Like, cool. Glad you liked it. But it's just puzzles that are written, in if-else statements. Like, if you have the fork and if you stuck it in the hole, you win. Like, so that everybody out there who works on single player games or story driven, you are awesome. Your work is awesome. I just don't happen to like it.
Heinrich is asking what the name of that game was.
I have no mouth and must scream.
That's good. So okay, yeah. So I'm like, if a game doesn't have some kind of multiplayer mode, it's not that fun. You need to be able to battle other people in some way, in some form. It doesn't have to be a shooter. It can be many ways. That's why I love StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3, games like that, real-time strategy games. They are very fast, and if you make one mistake for a few seconds, you lose the game, which is so much fun.
Yeah, for me, sorry.
No, it's okay. No worries.
I jumped on you, Mitch. For me, I have to play. I got some self-awareness. I prefer to play solo in a massively multiplayer game, but it needs to be a massive multiplayer game with a shared economy. So, like, I need to know if I'm mining gems, there has to be an auction house for me, or item progression thing. I need to know that it matters inside some sort of virtual world economic context.
Yeah,
that's important to me. What I can't stand, is a very arrogant guildmaster saying, "Oh, you're standing in the wrong spot. The dragon's whelp is going to hit you, noob. You don't know how to play." And I'm like, "Oh."
Don't forget your 50 DKP minus. You got to
let's just go to the arena and sort that out right
now. That's awesome.
I totally feel the same way. I was deeply into the traditional console RPGs when I grew up as a kid. I was like a Nintendo fanboy, then got into PlayStation, and then I found EverQuest, and I never looked back and have never played a single player game, and pretty much ever since. I pretty much only play multiplayer games. The exception of single player maybe is free to play games on my phone, which I play tons of and have been designing professionally for a lot of years. But now I've gone so far down the rabbit hole that I basically only play to earn games. I only play blockchain enabled games that have digital assets. And it's when I see something new and it doesn't have actual ownership for it, it's really hard for me to look at it and want to engage with it, with very, very few exceptions. The one being the only thing I've continued to talk about, which is Rocket League. Like and I wish deeply that I owned and had my car as an NFT that I was customized. I would I would do so much more to have that and I would probably invest and spend a lot more if it was as well.
Yeah.
But to me, like, I definitely believe that, like, this is the future. And I think so many other people that I talk to have this same mentality. They're like, the switch has been flipped in their brain and they're just like, why would I play anything that doesn't give me value?
Yeah. I feel righteously the same way. Like, I just want to make all those great games again, but with strong player ownership. That's my feeling. Like, I don't want to go spend my time in a game I can't own my stuff. And it's not from the speculation. It's my time, it's my experience, it's my stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And like, even such a small thing like Fortnite, the V-Bucks or the in PUBG, you need to, like, all the battle points and everything that you get, you can't do anything with it except buy some of their things in the game. I mean, Fortnite, you can buy pretty much everything inside their marketplace. But on PUBG, the battle points you earn, you're highly limited to what you can use them for. And that just feels strange. Like, I have, 70,000 battle points or something in my account, and I can't really use them for anything buy a loot box, the same loot box that they had 5 years ago or 4 years ago or whatever it is, and then you open and you get the same item you have 20 of, and you're sure you can sell them on the Steam market, but not really. It's not convenient at all, and
yeah, it's friction
has
everywhere,
to change, right?
Yeah, it's friction top to bottom, even in what is the top closed ecosystem, right? Like, if the most like prolific, dominant force on the platform that owns the market can't get that friction right, how is their policy the best for what they're saying is it should be allowed when it comes to blockchain and NFTs?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. We certainly were expecting these sort of things in terms of like sort of backing up on this. So we've been actively building a Steam game in parallel to working on Land Rush, and our Steam game is much more of a rich 3D, deeper crafting experience if you're into games like Factorio or Kerbal Space Program, for example. If you're into these sort of deep, rich space crafting or deep systematic driven crafting games, our Space to Venture game on Steam is a great solution for you there, and it's a $15 early access. We certainly care very much about wanting to have player ownership across the board, but we certainly had a feeling that Steam might be changing their policies when we've been actually building this, and which they sure as heck did. Yeah, and so this is what actually spurred the initial creation of Land Rush when it first happened. Was we basically came to this, or Eric had sort of early on and the other co-founders in the company had realized this, and that's where they came to me, or that's how they found me. Was basically, it was like, we need to build something that is play to earn, that is NFT driven, that doesn't put us at risk if Valve and Steam changes their policies. And that's sort of what the birth of Land Rush actually came from.
I gotta expand on what you just said there.
Please do.
Yeah. We feel really smart by having two different games going on. But I got to give a lot of credit to Land Rush, to Kerry Waters, our CEO. We were working our butts off on the 3D MMO in spring, and NFT gaming's taken off, and we're talking at her house. She's got a very nice house, very comfortable place to have conversations. It's a great place to ideate and think about things. We're talking, and she's pushing on NFT gaming, and we are already really, really full of work, frankly, on the 3D MMO. And she's the one that kept on evangelizing it and saying, hey, let's try harder. Let's just think outside the box. She is great at just being cheerfully relentless and thinking outside the box. Like, even if you think you can't do more, she'll figure out another way to do it, or she'll figure out a way to find the resources to do it. So it's really her vision and inspiration and follow through. And I was like, all right, well, I know this guy Mitch. He's really, really heavily in NFT gaming. They're like, well, let me just put a cord in the machine. I'll have him just talk at me for about an hour. We just riffed, and then there's that connection over there. And then also the co-founder of my previous game company, Nimai, was available in a contracting sense, and he was available, and he had a team already in place, and we've actually recently hired his team, but sadly not Nimai, but we got his team, and Nimai still works with us under a special contracting relationship. But yeah, I mean, from her willpower, Land Rush was born, and then validated by you founders. With your validation, now we've got a whole crew of investors that are really excited about this roadmap coming out.
Yep, it's only the beginning.
So Eric, since I know that Mitch has been in the NFT space and all the play turns and everything, what's your experience and background with blockchain and everything here? Is this your first time you dip your toes, or is this something you've done before?
Right. So I'm either an ultra newbie or I have some experience, depending on which way you want to look at it. In a formal sense, I'm a noob. Mitch, Mitch held my hand on getting my Wax cloud wallet set up. He held my hand on Binance and moving my and oh my God, it's terrible as a consumer to go through these steps.
It's scary.
I got to go what? I got to give photographs of all my passport, my credit card. Maybe I'm VPNing it and moving money overseas to get back around US laws. Oh, I should not do this. This is crazy. And then you go, onto these exchanges like, oh yeah, just swap this for that. And then you can get Wax. What Wax? Doesn't that melt in the sun? I don't know if I want Wax, and then you finally come in there and oh, what? I got to burn something. Why do I want to burn something? Like the amount of consumer friction around the games is astonishing. And yet, again, I go back to you founders and our early players who are investing and playing and trusting us and growing. It's so weird. We are frankly making good money from you guys. Thank you. We're taking all that money, we're putting it right back and giving you the best game we can and make it better and better. So I feel good about that. But the friction's so high. And then going back to that previous exchange between the two of you, talking about Steam and stuff, like, again, this is exactly like early aughts when microtransactions and the free-to-play games were first starting. If you remember back then, that was Electronic Boutique, it was Best Buy, it was big publishers, $50, $60 a game, and that's it. That's the only way games ever happened, right? But, some spunky folks out in South Korea and Asia in general, but started in South Korea, said, what if we put up a game for free? And what if we found a way to monetize people later? So I moved to South Korea, and I lived there for 6 years before that. But we're at that same point now. Mitch and I have colleagues that we've been friends with for years that are like, oh, you're working on blockchain games.
Oh yeah.
So
no, it's total deja vu. We are repeating our careers from 15, 12 years ago. So when we both were working in free-to-play games, we saw these same kind of feedback and criticisms that came into the play-to-earn space, or they came into free-to-play now, or back then. So back then it was free-to-play games are not real games. People that play free-to-play games are not real gamers. People that make them are basically just selling garbage to people, and it's all just about spammy, viral, sending gifts and no actual material gameplay. And yet hundreds of millions of people probably beg to differ in terms of people that played everything on Facebook and MySpace, and now the de facto, free-to-play games is the de facto expectation on anything mobile, and in most situations it's just an expectation that you're not going to charge money for something. You just give it away and you figure it out afterwards. And for the longest time, that question of how do you beat, or the race to the bottom goes to free, but how do you beat free? Well, play to earn is how you beat free. You get paid to play. Get paid by the game economy by participating. And I think very, strongly that this is the new paradigm that we are moving in towards. And so this sort of new shift in which everyone has sort of been used to doing things the same way for the last 15 years creates a lot of uncertainty, creates a lot of sort of unknowns, and that creates a lot of friction for people, and it allows for doubt and criticisms and misinformation to proliferate. I still hear people thinking that playing play to earn games is also having crypto mined on your computer while you're playing them. I've heard people like say just absolutely wild things that obvious things about like layer 2 projects destroying the environment, even though we're all well aware of the lack of impact that layer 2 has. I feel so much deja vu constantly, and it speaks to is the need for continued education, continued growth, and continued need to like spread more awareness and understanding in this entire space. The reason why we want to do the giveaways we're doing with you on LandRush is to ensure that more people can play the games, can get into this entire ecosystem, and can then share the word with more of their friends and the people that they're connected with. This is Eric talked about how I had to basically hold his hand. That's how the entire space works. Yeah. You're out on the front lines virtually holding everybody's hand, getting them into this space. We are doing the same kind of thing and trying to get them into a deeper, more rich experience in a game, and try to reduce as much friction inside of that as to just make sure we can maximize the fun. But at the end of the day, like the way that we all win is by growing the entire play to earn space, by bringing in more and more real people playing these games that care about what we're doing. And that is how we all get to succeed together.
Yeah, I can only agree there. And that like that friction people have is why I just created my own academy, where I'm gonna write courses, video and text, to hold people's hand. You can use it as reference. You can link parts of it to help your friend, to guide them, or in a support chat in any of the communities. You can just take this chapter on how you set up your wallet, or how you back up your private keys, or all of these steps that I plan to write full courses on for free. I don't intend to earn anything on the materials, but I intend to have NFTs I sell at the end. Hey, if you like this material, go here and buy a few NFTs. That way you support me. I rather do it that way because I think information should be freely available. I think people should be educated, and if I can do that in a, like, I understand the tech side of everything, and I can explain it rather easily so people can take it in and understand it. That is one of my skills I have from, I don't know, my life, I guess. So I want to share that as much as possible, and I hope to remove that friction as much as I can. Is very important.
Yeah,
the reason why I would make the argument that NFT gaming is not new to me, despite Mitch holding my hand and getting the wax wallet, despite my newness to this particular set of tooling, is I've always been about how do I have the players experience trusted, transparent, persist, like I talked about with my Starfleet Command game. I wanted those battles that they had on their LAN games to mean something. So if they had a campaign, upload that to a server and have the server record that, and then there was prestige points and there's a shop up there. Or if it's GoPets, it was land and it was making art and then selling it back and forth. It's just very, very natural to me. It's just like for example, I was just thinking about this while you guys were riffing. Here in town in Austin, there's this new cool cider arcade that's on the town river where you can play 500 or 600 arcade games. And I happen to really love Robotron. Robotron is something I'll put a lot of effort into, and I'll get super sweaty, and I love that game. And I spent the day and I filled out the top 10, leaderboard positions, and I was really excited about that. But, I know that, at the end of the day, they're going to hit the power switch and the leaderboard thing is going to go away. It would be more fun to me if Cider Arcade was like hooked up to a global arcade blockchain where high scores were uploaded every day and persisted on the blockchain. So it's not about, for me, speculation at all. It's about giving it more meaning, more permanence, more trust. That's what it's about for me.
Yeah, you're muted, Mitch.
Whoop. Yeah, it's about giving transparency. It's about giving trust. It's about preservation as well. I think another thing that like Eric and I both feel really strongly about is this, like that we see that the future for play to earn and blockchain games is that they could potentially go on to live forever. And they could be preserved on the blockchain, especially as the core elements within the gameplay become translate more sort of on-chain actions as things sort of move to have lower friction, where there's more trustless systems in place. I have a decade-long career of games that you can't play anymore that are in my bio, in my ludology of games that I've worked on, because they all required the company to be maintaining those servers, and when the server goes down, those games are dead. And I am excited beyond belief to have a game that I truly feel that we could have the potential to live forever, that we can stand this game up and build it in a way in which it lives and thrives and goes on to have a continued life that will exist beyond us, that can exist beyond even our years in many ways. And I feel that like the real magic that hasn't even remotely been scraped at or even like talked about is what do play to earn games made now mean in 50 years or in 20 years? What are the experiences like when we're in layer 4 or layer 5 on the blockchain, where things have been carried? We've seen these early projects like the crypto Mooncats and my Curio card, like these things that have been carried forward and across the different chains that have been sort of built with new wrappers and transposed into different ways of maintaining interoperability. I see this stuff just continuing forward, and the ability to sort of be here at the beginning, at the ground floor, is it really does make me feel like I'm back at the beginning of my career, only just with a lot more experience behind me to really kind of take this to the next level.
I agree with almost everything Mitch says, but he said something about what happens beyond the end of our stuff. That's not going to happen, you know. But you know, I'm looking forward to the folks, you know, on their journey to Mars, playing Land Rush and swapping out plots of land on their way to the settlement on the red planet itself. Yeah, I'm being cheeky there, but yeah, we are just so early in the possibilities here of getting people to understand what it means to not need to just trust that the publisher is going to do well with them. You know, the trustlessness and the API-ness is really interesting. Like I'd like to do a shout out to one of our players, Lamp. Super cool player. Anybody's seen him? He's on Discord all the time. He's doing tools for everybody. But you know, like late last night after we got done with the upgrades, I was about to pack it in. He was like, "Hey, do you want to try my multi-tool thing?" And frankly, I was really tired. You know, but all right, I'll try it. But it's pretty hairy. You got to go to Atomic Hub. You got to go burn a bunch of things, and then you got to get your transaction IDs. You got to pop them in there, and then you got to, you know, go to your browser and the developer tools and copy the cookie. And he's like, "Hey, I'll send you the source code to make sure you know I'm not doing anything with your cookie." You know, and then you pop that in. You run it, and it does a multi-import. You know, again, that's friction. We got to clean that up. We got to make multi NFT asset importing work. But these APIs and the tooling and the trust and the network and making a hobby industry out of it, a fabric, all that's super, super exciting. And I'm also really glad that a lot of our peers in the AAA industry are looking at it and going, I don't want to do that. I want to keep doing what I've been doing. Good.
Yep.
Awesome.
The more we see those criticisms, we send them to each other. And I'm like, look at them doubting us. This is so good. It just means we're even earlier. Like, it just fuels us even more. Like, we love to see the hate.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want them to see your podcast, Anders.
Yeah.
You know, I remember Mitch once was talking about, he was seeing somebody rant on LinkedIn about it. He's like, "Oh my gosh, can you believe this? I'm going to write to them." I was like, "No, don't write to them. No."
Don't prove them wrong. Don't explain to them. Don't convince them. Keep them away. Yeah, that's, you know, it's a double-edged sword, because at the same time, like, I want the whole space to grow, but I also want us to, you know, do well as we can as well. So it's always a balance. Yeah, but I think,
like, we all want that World of Warcraft where we can go in, everything we mine, everything we have on us are NFTs and tokens, and you actually, like, hey, I'm going to work now. You go to your computer and you go into World of Warcraft and you go on quests and you earn money, and then you sell it to pay for rent and food. And to be honest, a lot of people in Play to Earn is doing that already. But the scary thing is that people that are new in the space, they go into projects when they are the most hyped, and they over-invest money into it, thinking they will be rich and buy a Lambo, and they make mistakes, which is very sad. A lot of people are making bad mistakes, and I'm very happy to hear that you guys are trying to allow people to enter at a low level, because, like, sure, if you have a lot of money, buying a founder's token for $500, you can do it. If you are a normal person that just have your day job, you earn $10 to $20 an hour, you have kids, you have a lot of bills to pay, you have food and everything, you need to try to save. Spending that amount of money to buy game items is insanity, and most people can't do that. It is a crazy place. If you can invest in those play to earn games, you are in a very good position to start with. So I'm very happy that there are more of those games where you can start early. I mean, if you started Alien Worlds on day one when the game launched, the first days, if you had a shovel, you earned thousands of trillium just by mining the first few days. And if you bought a land at the start for I think it was $65 to $80 was the lowest price, something like that. If you bought lands there, you're making so much money. It's insane on buying those, and that is like the crazy, the cool, the upside. But that's not the real play to earn for me. The real play to earn is when we go to the third world countries, people that don't have a lot of money. They can start, they can play. Perhaps they work at some shop, they run their own food stand or whatever. They don't have a lot of people right now. They take up their phone, they do some play to earn. They earn a few extra cents, a few extra dollars perhaps in a week, and that can change their life. It can set them off to a new future. They can invest in their business. They can do a lot of things, and that's where the real value of play to earn games come. It's not when people like me that play this and throw money in it and have fun. And earn a little bit more money or make a mistake, and it's not the whole world for me. It's for the broad people. We can change people's life just by adding games to their mobile phones, which is insane.
You could not be speaking more music to my ears, Anders. The white paper on the front of our page specifically calls out exactly to what you're speaking about, in which we say in exact words that we believe that play-to-earn games have the potential to change the lives of millions of people, lifting them up from poverty into a much better quality of life. This is something that I think and have firmly believe as a personal mission and something that I want to drive in what we're building. I want to build games that truly can impact and change the lives of people. I want to hear every story about someone who started out as a worker that became a landowner. I want to hear everyone who is able to improve their lives or to have an amazing win. Like if they, get the ability to craft a pack and pull out a mythic, and it suddenly is a life-changing thing for them. That's the things that matter to me way more than anything else that we're building. Like those stories, those connections. This is something that I believe passionately about from the core of my being. I'm a big fan of economist Hernando de Soto, who wrote this book, The Mystery of Capital, and he talks very much about these sort of things, about how the majority of the world doesn't have digital property or doesn't have any property rights ownerships at all. They live extra legally outside of the system. They're not recognized by their own governments. They don't own the land they squat on. They don't own the property that they have and where they live. And to me, those people, there's billions of people that that have access to the internet and have access to phones just outside of this range, and more are coming online every day. To me, this becomes the play to earn metaverse workforce, as it's often called. That's the real booming economy that I think is going to be coming in this space. And it's exactly why, coming back to the things that we talked about earlier, it's why we're so focused on localization. It's why we're focused on a low entry point. It's why we're focused on, actual property rights and ownership, because those things don't exist everywhere in the world. And it's something we want to bring to the masses.
Yeah. All that, talking about the Lambo thing, people getting in and getting burnt and the frothiness, I really don't like that. A lot of these projects say if you were smart enough to be there in the very beginning, you're just entitled to make money. Actually, the same way the same way that the gentry and the kings of old made money. They were there first, and they just rent it, and they sit back and they don't do anything active, and they make money. That's a bad way to make money. We want your digital assets to make you money. We want it to appreciate, yes, but frankly, more mildly. We don't want to have a Lambo popcorn machine going like that. No, we want
you get a Lambo. You get a Lambo.
Yeah, we want you to come in and go, oh, that's a Million on Mars game, Million Mars asset. Sweet, I'm going to buy that. I'm not worried about it. I know it's going to be worth more in the future. It doesn't have to be Lambo more. It's just going to be worth more, calmly more. And it's going to feel good. It's going to have solid value. And other people are like, oh, cool. I'd love to get into that. I trust those guys. That's what we're going for. I don't want it to be like, oh, I was a donkey. I came at the end of the game and ciao. I got chewed up.
Yeah, it's a rough space. It's a blessing and a curse, and like all of these speculations and hype and pumps and everything, it is a blessing and it is a curse. But it's awesome. But guys, we have been on here for 80 minutes already, which is it's a long time. It was an awesome conversation, but I think we should start to round up.
Sure.
We have a few of these awesome giveaways that we need to do, and some of them. Well, I think that most of them will be. It will be running until end of tomorrow evening. The form will be open, then I close it. It's about $6,000 in value of NFTs, which is an insane amount of NFTs. There is even a land pack, which is this big and awesome pack, and then you have 20 plus blueprint packs, and then we have a bunch more access badges so you can go and play the game. So sign up and you have an opportunity to go play the game and get some lands and awesome tools, and those land packs are very nice, fun and nice to open.
Definitely.
So that's very nice.
The land packs always come with common blueprints, just for anyone that opens them and is wondering. That's intentional, but it's meant to give you a head start. Yeah, we definitely want to give out access badges to as many people that are really wanting to play. So please fill out that form. We'll get badges to everyone who does not have one that's not in our game already. Yeah. And if there's additional questions or things that anyone wants to ask us, Eric and I will probably be hanging out inside of our Discord. You can always go to milliononmars.com/Discord and come hang out. We'd be happy to answer any of the follow-up questions or things that we didn't get to answer here inside of the chat.
Absolutely. And remember, those are 2021 land packs and 2021 blueprints. Good stuff.
Yes.
And to be fair, like I was thinking, hey, we should do a wheel of names and everything at the end of this for people. But I think we should give people a little bit of opportunity in case they're not here for the live stream, in case they're coming after. They should still have a chance to get the big and fun prize. So I will talk to Cassie after we are done, and I will try to do some kind of recording for the big things, and then I will post that on Twitter. So if you're not following there, do that. It's Anyobservation as everywhere, I guess. So do that, and awesome. And I'm really happy that you came on. There was an awesome conversation, fun to get to know you more personally. I hope everyone else feels the same. They know you more, and that builds trust, and that is very important. With that said, is there anything else you want to add to this?
I do. I want to put thoughts and warm feelings out to half of our team that's in Cebu, Philippines. They're going through a Category 5 typhoon right now, and they don't have power. So we're all hoping that they're okay.
They literally were working last night as a hurricane was hitting where they are. It's crazy.
Yeah. Then let's really hope they are fine.
Definitely.
That's crazy. We are blessed that we have a nice day then. So that's awesome. Yeah. So nice to meet you guys, and I love to have you on again when you guys have built more awesome stuff in a few weeks or months. We will see. I'm very happy to have you on again.
You're going to have to, because it's going to whole new game stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot more features, lots more systems coming, and I'm sure you're going to need some more explanations. We'll be happy to give them.
I'm very happy to have you, and it was a nice conversation. And see you guys, and thanks everyone for watching. Very happy that you came. Peace.